On today's episode of Identity, SABC News anchor Vipakshni Chetty-Miller makes her own headlines when she meets me for coffee. It's off to Davidton on a musical note as we join the Batlopilweng Gospel Choir. In our What's Happening segment, we review the app Women's Diary and also check out a website dedicated to the late Archbishop Dennis Hurley. And then Mzansians plays us out with the track Imbogoto.
I am an individual with an imagination. My inner faith illuminates innovations. In a space with infinite inspiration, I was born free from all incarceration. Incredible, living infallibly, intelligent, outshine with my inner being. This is me, impeccable as ever been. I am you, you are me. This is my identity.
Good morning and welcome to another exciting episode of your favorite multi-faith magazine show, Identity, right here on SABC 1. My name is Mpumi Mbethe. Sibungata lilanga labomake emhlabeni wonke jikelele. Sivula lihlelo ngekuthi watsinza abafati, watsinza imbokotho. Here in Mzansi, women's rights have been firmly entrenched in society as we realize and honor the special place that women have come to deserve. On that note, a deserving woman who joins me today is the talented SABC News anchor and radio host, Vipakshni Chetty-Miller. She is a much-loved voice on radio before exchanging the microphone for the hot seat in front of the cameras to bring South African English TV viewers the latest on the day's events. Vipakshni, welcome to Identity.
Thank you for having me.
I want you to take me back to Durban, growing up, your childhood. What did you like? What did you do?
I was an only child, so very sheltered childhood, introvert, painfully shy, and very awkward.
Shy?
Yes.
And then how did you move from the shy girl to TV? How did your career start out?
It took a long while. I must thank my parents. They identified that shy factor early on, and I went to speech and drama lessons. I got out of the shell slowly and started to find myself. So that helped a bit.
And your decision to get into news particularly, did you decide that while in school or in varsity?
I decided when I was 6 years old. It's a very funny story. My parents had a bedtime for me, and at that point the English news went out at 8 at night. So they said, okay, you can stay up half an hour later if you watch the news. So that's how I did it. I hoodwinked them into thinking, okay, I'm going to watch the news, but I actually ended up truly watching it. And I fell in love with the news when I was very young, and I used to prance around the house apparently, telling everyone I was going to read the news on TV.
I moved from Mpumalanga to Johannesburg to come and study a BA in journalism, and I recall from my time in varsity some challenges. Did you go through something similar perhaps during your days in varsity?
I studied in Durban, so much like a cocoon experience, I still got to have mom's cooking and the shoulder to lean on. The true challenge came when I moved to Johannesburg. It was my first time being on my own. As I said, only child, so no support system. I couldn't do anything. I didn't know how to cook. I couldn't clean. I was calling and texting my mom 24/7. So it took me about 2 years to actually adjust. I was going home every month. Now I don't go as often, but I still miss home, so I do visit my parents a lot.
So moving from Durban to Jozi was a challenge, but starting out in the industry might have had its own challenges. Take me through that.
It was very challenging. As you know, the industry is very competitive. And there's a lot of things you need to know, and you need to knock on doors, you need to work for free, which I did, and you need to start really early. So I started reading radio news bulletins in my second year at a community station in Durban called Highway Radio, and I remember I used to read like a bullet train. They said I read faster than a train. I needed to breathe. I needed to learn exactly to slow down. So all of that helped to shape and mold, because I didn't have much formal training in terms of voice training or getting professionals to actually help you.
Speaking of shaping you, was religion, faith perhaps a part of that journey into shaping the woman that sits next to me today?
Definitely. I've always been a woman of God. I've always been strong in my religion, in my faith. Very different story in that my parents and I practiced Hinduism for a long time, but my grandmother on my mom's side was also Catholic. So we had a dual influence. So it was kind of strange. I mean, we would go to church at Easter and for Christmas, or we would go to leave flowers and pray, but we would also do the things that my dad's family did. So lately there's been a total shift, and we decided as a family unit we need to choose one thing and we need to stick with what works for us. So we all got baptized, we're Catholic, and I think religion can play a really important role in your life, and I think a lot of the time it's misunderstood, and I think if you find what works for you, that's great and you should go with that.
Identity is all about multi-faiths and different beliefs. Do you think spirituality plays an important role, especially in your industry?
Definitely. I mean, spirituality is not just about faith or looking at a higher being. It's about a reflection of yourself at times. So it does help to ground you. It helps you to sometimes step aside from the fast pace that you're in constantly, and news can be very draining. It can be a very difficult industry to be in every day just by the fact of the stories that you're reading and the things that you're exposed to.
When I was growing up, I saw very few female faces anchoring news, and I think that might pose a challenge to young girls growing up. We've got gender inequality, and yes, we've made strides, but what more do you think we can do in all industries to enhance women's rights?
There's a lot we can do, and especially with television news, even radio news, the industry at large, and with other professions as well, there is still that factor where women have to work doubly hard to prove themselves. In my industry, for example, I'm not saying men just get off, I mean, lightly, or that they don't do any work. They do. But you find yourself striving to just be so much better, to having to go the extra mile to prove that you're not just witty, intelligent, that you can hold your own. You also get judged on the way you look, image, appearance. So it's really hard for women in the industry.
In other parts of Africa, countries like Tanzania, you'll find where girls are being forced into marriage, and I mean, at a very early age. What can we do as citizens of the continent to help liberate countries such as Tanzania?
You know, that's a difficult one, because we find ourselves in a different situation in South Africa where we're not fighting per se. We've got the framework, we've got the laws that help to encourage women empowerment, but we find ourselves in a continent where, simply put, the rules and society's perceptions towards women are just backward. We've got situations, as you said, where there's forced marriages, there's gender mutilation, and you just have to hope that as a continent we can rally together, that people actually start looking at this seriously and helping us to get rid of some of the stigmas that are still there.
And what inspires you?
I take inspiration from a lot of different things and a lot of different people. For me, it's people that you meet, you take away bits and pieces of them and you incorporate that into your life. So every day you meet someone or you do something inspirational that you look back on and say, that was a good lesson.
A lot of people would say you've accomplished so much, but I always want to know, what more would you want to achieve?
Well, right now I'm juggling radio and television. So for me, that is a dream achieved, because for me, 5 years ago, I wanted to do bi-media. I wanted to be heard and to be seen. So right now I'm living the dream. Next step, I haven't really thought about what I want to do, but possibly there's a move in the making, possibly looking at widening the scope, looking at international media organizations. So we'll have to wait and see what happens.
I want to find out, if you could live anywhere in the world, where would you live?
I'd live right here.
And if you won the lottery, what's the first thing you would buy?
I would pay off all my debt.
And if you were a performing artist, what would be the title of your first album?
Unwrapped.
And if you were to perform in the circus, what would you do?
I would be a clown.
And if you were a fruit, what type of fruit would you be?
A banana.
Babakshni, it's been such a pleasure to have you here today. I know you're an inspiration to so many. We see your fans tweeting and tagging you, and I just hope that you accomplish all that you set out to accomplish in life.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure being here with you.
What a better way to honor and celebrate International Women's Day than by spending time with a remarkable woman like Vabakshni. Before we go for a break, the Baha'i community is observing a 19-day fasting period which began on the 2nd of March and will end on the 20th of this month. The purpose of the fast is to reinvigorate the soul and come closer to God. We would like to wish our Baha'i friends a blessed and rewarding fasting period. When we return, we visit the Enquire in Davidton as they bring joy to the community. Do stay tuned.
This is my identity. This is my identity.
Identity SABC 1. If you've just joined us, you must start on an interview with SABC News anchor Vabakshni Miller. Today, all over the world, we are celebrating the bedrocks of the universe, the powerful and inspiring women. Paula luvolwakho nawe ku Twitter @identitytvshow nobe usishele mlayeto kulikhasi lethu ku Facebook. Ungasasithumela ke ne-email ku identitytvshow@gmail.com. Uma utithanzela tithombe sitheke ku Instagram. Today's story came from one of our enthusiastic viewers via email. Her name is Masilo from Davidton, who is a member of Batlopilweng Gospel Choir, and this is what she had to say. Dear Identity producer, I'm writing to you on behalf of Batlopilweng Gospel Choir. We would like to extend our invitation to you to please come and see the changes we are bringing in our community through music. Batlopilweng Gospel Choir is a group of a singing family consisting of about 50 to 60 young people, which have come together to empower the young minds by revitalizing the honest values and the high standards that this Rainbow Nation was founded on. We'd love to welcome the Identity team as we are planning to spend quality time with the kids from Siza Umphakathi Daycare Center. We look forward to seeing you. Your #1 fan, Masilo Tomo. Thank you very much, Masilo, for the email. Sithathema camera 8 fusaya eDavidton lese East Rand kuyobona labantu labasha labafaka sandla ekusiteni imphakathi wabo ngesiphiwo semculo. Asibone.
This is my identity.
Good morning, Identity viewers. My name is Masilo Tomo, and today the Batlopilweng Gospel Choir will be spending a day with the children from the Siza Umphakathi Daycare Center, where we'll be helping them with their work and blessing them with our sweet melodies. Pele Toma, a re bueng le mtshwari wa Batlopilweng Gospel Choir. Ke Mzansians Mapena, motshwari wa Batlopilweng Gospel Choir. Tell us about Batlopilweng Gospel Choir.
Batlopilweng Gospel Choir, it's a clap and tap choir. It was formed in 2005 by our late leader, Brother Josh Powe. The reason this group was formed is because of bokuna baningi estradini abenza izinto ezingase-right. Some of them were starting to do crime. So, you know, in a community, in order to decrease crime, you have to open up an organization, something like a clap and tap choir, so that at least the youth is safe.
Why do you think it is important for the choir to give back?
It is important because we are Christians, we are spreading the word of God, so it is our responsibility as a gospel group to give care to the community. Whenever, if someone is hungry, it's our duty as a gospel group to make sure that those people, they eat, especially more children. We can't let children go hungry. We can't let child go to sleep without eating. So as a gospel group, Batlopilweng Gospel Choir, it's one of our objectives to make sure that our community is safe, people are getting enough food and everything is okay.
Thank you, Zandile. Now, without wasting any time, let's head straight to the Siza Umphakathi Daycare Center to begin with our work. A wise woman once said, "Let the hungry be fed, the naked be clothed, the sick nourished, the aged protected, and the infants cared for." And speaking about caring for the children, the next person we're going to see is Mrs. Galela, a virtuous woman who spends her time making sure that the children are at their best behavior. Thank you so much, Mrs. Kalala, for giving us and the Identity crew the opportunity to spend time with the children. So tell me, what inspired you to work with children?
Ngiyabonga nami ukuthi nibe khona. Into engenze ukuthi siqale isusa umphakathi siye sathina sihamba la sathola ukuthi kunabantwana abanye abantwana aba-affordayo bayakhona ukuya ama-crash. Sathola one day sathola abantwana abayi-6 bahamba esitradini baphusha amabhala bayo-chargisa amabhetri. So masibabuza bathi abanayo imali yokuya-crash. So it's so sad ukubona umntana ahleli ekhaya and sonke sijike ebuntwaneni and we don't know ukuthi lo mntana omncane udoctor or president yakusasa. I believe badalwe for a purpose and bane potential.
So uzizwa kanjani as ikhaya ngomhla ye-izili?
I'm so blessed and ngijabule kakhulu. Kuyangikhuthaza nami because sometimes we struggle singazi ukuthi sizokuthatha into eziningi, but today nabazile siyabona ukuthi kunabantu abanjengale choir abawunakile umphakathi, abanakile nabantu abangenalutho.
Sibongile, ngitshela ukuthi uzizwa kanjani as ikhaya invakashele namhlanje?
Ngizizwa ngingcono. Bayasiphekela, bayasifundisa, bayasiculela.
Okay, Sibongile, ngitshela ukuthi yini into eniyenzayo njalo la eclass?
Siyabhala, siyafunda.
So now se re feditse go bua le ngwana a re botsa maikutlo a hae hore o feel bjang ka ge re le mo today. So mae re tlo go ba tlhophileng gospel choir bona ba tla be ba performa dipina tsa bona. We as choir members are passionate about transforming Davidson into a safer, highly skilled and most importantly, an educated society. Joining me now is Ntate Sidise. Tell me how you first got involved with Batlhopileng Gospel Choir and what inspired you.
Kadilo China Batlhopileng Gospel Choir in strateng lena and some good peers of mine. Re pinela fela so gwatlahela ena mtshwaro wa rona ileng Abudzandi a recruiter go batla batho ba tlhobinang ko choir. So that's when we joined a choir.
As a young person, do you think that it is important for us as young South Africans to be involved in community engagement?
Go botlhokwa haholo ka bane e re tlosa away from the drugs, from the crimes tse ngata mo strateng. E re bolela menyako e mengata haholo le modimo a ithabela yona ntho e etsiwang ke rona batho.
Any advice for other gospel choirs and identity viewers?
Ke hore ba tswelle pele le mosebetsi wa Jehova ba tla bona tse ngata di ipulehela fela. Ka bane modimo wa e rata ntho e etsiwang mo fa bana di donation go tsamaele o yo dipetlele hiwe go di kids heaven go mnati jwalo modimo wa thaba re tsa jwalo.
Thank you so much to the Identity crew for giving us the opportunity to showcase our work. And to you viewers, I hope you have been inspired by Batlhopileng's initiative. From me, Marcella Tomo and the Batlhopileng Gospel Choir, goodbye and stay blessed. Back to you, Mpumi, at the studio.
Batlhopileng Gospel Choir even composed a song for us, which was very sweet of them. Sibonge kakhulu bomngami, niqhubeke njalo ngemsebenzi lomuhle lenwendako emphakathini. Hlala nathi wena wekunene sisajika ititolo. Uma sibuya sidobuka i-media review segment. Siyabuya nyalo.
This is my identity. This is my identity.
Usahleti na Mpumi Mbethe, luhlelo yi-Identity. If you've just joined us, you've missed out on an empowering and uplifting talk with news anchor Vabakshni Chetty Miller and a beautiful insert with the Batlhopileng Gospel Choir from Davidson. Now it's time for our What's Happening segment. This segment is dedicated to any information that will help to enhance all aspects relating to mind, body, and spirit. From books, movies, websites to apps, we'll help you get there. Now, considering we are celebrating International Women's Day, our first review for the day is the app called Women's Diary. Ladies, grab your smartphones because this app is designed specially for you. Women's Diary is a very simple and easy to use app for monitoring the status of your monthly period as well as determining the date of ovulation and the fertile period. The program can also be useful for those who play sports. In the advanced settings, you can keep what you are interested in. For example, your weight in the evening, calories burned during exercise. This program can not only keep track on menses, but replace multiple applications too. The application conveniently monitors the changes in weight, waist, breast, hips, pressure and heart rate, and displays all the data in a chart. The program also has a daily reminder so that you do not forget to weigh in at the same time. Girls, this app is a must-have, so download it today. Wow, you have to love the techno world. Girls, do get downloading. Our second review is a website dedicated to the memory of the late Archbishop Dennis Hurley. A center built in Durban today stands as a true testament to the spirit of this remarkable religious leader. The Dennis Hurley Center is named after a man who has been in his office for 45 years, serving as an Archbishop of Durban. The scourge of apartheid and a hero of the city. www.archbishopdennishurley.org is an easy-to-use website for those who are looking to lend a helping hand to those in need. To navigate to donate, simply scroll to the top of the screen and click on the tab How to Donate, which leads to a page that has all the details you might need. For those who wish to attend the events the center will be hosting, click on the home page and scroll down to the middle left of the page where you will see the latest headlines and events. The center is committed to working with people of all faiths to bring about change in the inner city for people who are poor, homeless, hungry, sick, unemployed, and refugees. They do this through various programs, a clinic, a feeding scheme, vocational training, and pastoral outreach. To all who visit the site and would like to visit the center in person or volunteer, you can get in contact with the center via email admin@dennishurleycenter.org. We have come to the end of yet another spiritually uplifting and educational episode of Identity. Tumana nathi ngato tonke tindlela. Ungathanza likhasi lethu ku Facebook, usilandzele ku Twitter @identitytvshow kanye na ku Instagram. Ungaphindze usithumele i-email ku identitytvshow@gmail.com. Andre Lord said, "I write for those women who do not speak, for those who do not have a voice because they were so terrified, because we are taught to respect fear more than ourselves. We've been taught that silence would save us, but it won't." Wherever you are, uyimbogodvo. Stay blessed, and I hope that we've helped you to kickstart your week empowered by the fact that nothing is impossible, but possible because you're a woman. Wrapping up today's show is Mzansians with Imbogodvo. See you next week Sunday on SABC 1 at 11 a.m. Goodbye and God bless.